Straight ahead on 12 News, an area of Golden Valley that could see a dramatic change.
There's a lot of excitement around putting that type of product here on the site.
Then, making a difference one tweet at a time.
It's really cool to see that, now we have positivity trending.
An area high school students' answer to cyberbullying. But first, Plymouth police investigate at least 2 robberies involving Craigslist. 12 News starts right now. Plymouth police say they were just shopping to steal. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alexandra Renslow.
And I'm Mike Johnson. Police say in 2 recent cases, someone pretending to want to buy an item advertised on Craigslist ran off with the goods. Renee Bonneau explains how to make sure that doesn't happen to you.
Every day, millions of potential buyers scour Craigslist for a good deal. But Plymouth police say twice in the last 2 weeks, someone here was looking to steal.
In these cases, it was Apple products.
Police say 2 sales transactions, one on August 24th, the other on August 29th, ended in robberies. Both times, the buyer and seller agreed to meet in a shopping center parking lot near Highway 55 and Vicksburg Lane. One meeting was set up for 11 p.m., the other just after 1 a.m.
In both cases, the suspect was given the laptop or the iPad and looked at it like any good buyer would want to see what they're buying. And as soon as the suspect had the item in their hand, they took off running.
Police say neither victim lives in Plymouth. They're not sure if it's the same suspect in each case, but the fact that both crimes happened in Plymouth could mean the thieves live nearby. Police say whether you buy or sell on Craigslist, you should call the shots on the meeting spot. Plymouth police say pick a place where there are lots of people, like a restaurant or a coffee shop, or maybe even the police department.
Hopefully they meet them in a public place at a reasonable hour. Even though a parking lot in a business area is public, at 11 at night, 1 in the morning, it's fairly desolate.
Use common sense and trust your gut, just as you would online.
Just like on the internet, you're not sure, like in a chat room, who that other person is.
Police say look out for red flags. For example, if you get an email, a text, or a call telling you to hurry up and meet someone, again, make sure you decide where and when. And Mike and Alex, if you plan to buy something off Craigslist, don't bring a lot of cash when you meet the seller. Police say instead use a cashier's check.
All right, Renee Bonneau, some good tips. Thanks a lot. Meantime, Plymouth police are investigating an attempted robbery outside a bank.
It happened at 6 o'clock this Thursday morning, just outside the U.S. Bank on Lancaster Lane. That's near 169 and Rockford Road. Police say a McDonald's employee was attempting to make a deposit at the drive-through window when she was approached by a man with a gun. The victim was able to drive away and the robber fled. The case remains under investigation. No arrests have been made.
Police in Golden Valley are trying to figure out what caused a woman to drive her vehicle into a pond. The woman was found dead in the vehicle. The pond is located off of Rhode Island and 23rd Avenues. This is in the Pennsylvania Woods Nature Area. Authorities started investigating the incident at about 8:30 Thursday morning. It's unclear how long the car had been there. The woman's identity has not yet been released.
Authorities in Brooklyn Center continue to investigate the cause behind a fire that destroyed a playground. As you can see, fencing now surrounds the melted playground structure at Happy Hollow Park. That's near Malmberg's Garden Center. The fire occurred last Friday, and police believe a cigarette may have started it. They don't believe it was a case of arson, but police say the investigation is ongoing. And you could call it a drought delay for motorists on Highway 100 this morning. 2 lanes of traffic were shut down as firefighters put out a small brush fire near the highway. Firefighters say something as simple as a cigarette may have started that fire. It spread quickly in brush that seems to get drier by the day. In fact, a new report shows 63% of Minnesota is now in a drought. That's an increase of 9% in the past week.
Brooklyn Park State Senator Ben Cruz is among 11 Republican senators being fined for using taxpayer money to print campaign materials. Flyers called legislative updates were distributed at precinct caucus meetings back in February. Republicans insist that they were constituent communications, but judges with the Office of Administrative Hearings ruled that they were campaign materials because they included a link to a fundraising site and the fact that they were distributed only at Republican precinct caucuses. The total cost of printing the flyers was less than $50. The senators are being fined $75 each.
It's been more than a week since Hurricane Isaac washed ashore along the Gulf Coast, but local Red Cross volunteers are still on the scene. Plymouth volunteer Barry Altman is in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He says things are starting to improve, but the biggest threat is still flooding as the area continues to get rain from the backside of what was Hurricane Isaac.
We had probably a couple inches of rain ourselves here in Hattiesburg. But there's still a lot of rain going on in southwest Mississippi, and we have some dams. They're concerned about dam breaches, and they're trying to relieve a lot of the pressures on some of these that are really full. And there's been a fair amount of minor flooding pretty much throughout southern Mississippi, roads closed from time to time.
Altman says he'll be in Mississippi for another 10 days or so working with the Red Cross. Officials say thanks to the memory of Katrina, a lot of people used those temporary shelters during the storm.
Well, fair or not, many have the impression that Minnesota is very cold, but the vice president of Liberia is leaving with an impression that it's a very warm place. Vice President Joseph Boakai wrapped up a 3-day visit to Brooklyn Park. It's actually his second visit in just over a year. He also visited last summer. A main purpose of this visit was to acquire knowledge and also to say thank you.
This is a follow-up trip to make things more concrete. A lot of good things are happening. They're helping to put things together, and we are here to support what they're doing and to show our gratitude and try to build on that relationship.
It kind of reminds us that our city is 50% diverse, and everybody has different, unique perspectives. So this is one of those ways that we get to learn those.
Liberia also received this ambulance donated by North Memorial Medical Center. The war-torn country has been trying to rebuild its fire and its medical service. The vice president even joked that he considers Fire Chief Ken Perlman a nephew of his. You may recall Perlman started a nonprofit to help Liberia with its fire service. So all in the family over there in Brooklyn, in Brooklyn Park. Coming up on 12 News, something that has Golden Valley city officials excited.
We'll show you what could be in store for the western edge of that city. Then later in sports, 3 days of tough competition for Wyzetta's volleyball team. We'll have a preview.
But first, a much cooler AccuWeather forecast.
After years of decline, residential construction is finally on the rise.
Housing permits for the month of August are more than double the rate from the same time period last year. A proposed apartment complex in Golden Valley is just one example of good news for the industry and for young professionals. Delane Cleveland has more.
The western entrance to Golden Valley from Highway 55 isn't much to brag about. Just ask city planner Joe Hogeboom.
Underutilized property right now, not a lot of action happening here.
An empty storefront and a vacant bowling alley are two of the most prominent features on the northern side of the highway.
The Golden Valley sign on Highway 55 is just across the highway. And so if you look there, you see our sign. If you look here, you see an abandoned building.
But if a local development group gets its way,
this is just how this would kind of look from that direction.
This will be the site of the Tiburon, a 6-story, 142-unit apartment complex aimed at young professionals.
There's a need. We have a lot of campuses, corporate campuses in this general area, and so we think there'd be a need.
The project is still in the planning stages, but Hogeboom says things are moving in the right direction. Yet that's not the only thing moving in the right direction. Overall, residential construction is up in the Twin Cities.
We're on pace to do a little over 8,000 units this year. So that gives you an example of the dramatic change moving forward.
Dave Siegel of the Twin Cities Builders Association says the usual number of new housing units built each year is about 11,000. So things aren't quite back to normal, but they're happy to see the turnaround.
We've got several months in a row now where we can say these numbers are continuing to rise. You're not so sure when you get a month up and a month down, but we've had enough of a consistent pattern that I think we can say pretty confidently that we're on the recovery.
Golden Valley city planners have also seen an upswing in permit applications.
We're seeing a huge upswing this fall and late summer, and so I think the permitting office will get a huge upswing come spring.
Construction on the Tiburon apartment complex could also start this spring.
There's a lot of excitement around putting that type of product here on this site.
In Golden Valley, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
And this week, the Golden Valley City Council started the approval process for the Tiburon. It's a process that could take another 4 months. And in case you were wondering, rent would be market rates and could start at around $1,000 for a studio apartment. Coming up, a movement that started by simply writing something nice.
See how an Osseo student quickly caught the eye of the Twitter world. But first in sports, the Osseo and Maple Grove football teams prepare for a Friday night showdown. John Jacobson has that and more when we come back. John Jacobson with Sports Now. Pretty good test for Wayzata volleyball coming up.
They've got 3 days of very intense matches in these next few days. Marshall, and starting with Lakeville tonight. It is very early in the season, but it is a big week for Wayzata's volleyball team. The Trojans face some tough competition. And that starts with a match tonight, Thursday, against top-ranked Lakeville North. The Panthers were state runner-up a year ago and beat Wayzata during the season. It's one the Trojans look forward to.
We're really excited. Like, they've been tough competitors the last couple years, and we want to go get them this time. It's going to be fun.
After that match, Wayzata plays in the 32-team Marshall tournament Friday and Saturday. Well, the Trojans did lose some talent from their Section 6 3A runner-up team of 2011. They can build around veteran libero Lauren Hogg and outside hitter Natalie Wilson. The team has played pretty well in 2 season-opening wins.
We've really come out strong both matches. We've really been working on our communication, so that's been kind of a focus point during practice, and we've really adapted well to our focus points in games, so we're making progress.
You know, they're right where I want them to be right now, where we have things to work on, but they are competing hard and they're focused on the feedback that's being given to them. They're very coachable.
Wayzata placed third in the Marshall tournament last season and includes a number of top teams from all 3 classes. It's a big showdown this week on the football field as rivals Osseo and Maple Grove meet up. Osseo is 1-0 after beating Centennial 37-21 in the season opener. The Orioles have a lot of new faces at key positions after graduating 3 Division I players. And they thought the first game went well.
I feel like we played really well. Our offense came on pretty strong. And, I felt like our defense played pretty well too. They stepped up in big moments. A few defensive stops.
The one thing I was really happy about, we only had 4 penalties. In an opening game, that's pretty good. So the kids were concentrated, and a lot of those kids we talked about, they were rookies and they were young, but you know what? They watched a lot of really good players last year, and they're good kid players in themselves, so they stepped up, and that's what you really want to have happen.
Bridge Tussler returns as one of the best backs in the metro area, and will be a focal point for opposing defenses. Osseo beat Maple Grove twice last season and has won 5 of the past 6 in the series. But they know it will be a good challenge.
They have a strong offense. They have a good fullback, and he's big. But we have a strong offense, and I feel like we'll score a lot. And I mean, it's going to be a tough game for the defense, but I think we can handle it.
We'll see. I like our kids, and I like our options, and I like their options. They got a great receiver and tailbacks, and kids that can actually run a lot, really well. So it's going to be a great game either way you look at it.
At Maple Grove, the Crimson is looking to get the rivalry with Osseo to swing their way. The Crimson still own the overall lead in the series 15-7. And there's no doubt Osseo Week is special, but it's also a chance to take another step forward in the long haul of the season.
We look forward to it a lot. It's just our second step of our season. We're going to come out playing real good. We're prepared, we're ready, so.
But I think both of our programs are at stages now that I think we just both want to go 2-0. I know Lammy over there and myself, I think we both have bigger picture than just if we can beat Osseo or they can beat Maple Grove. So I think for the kids it's fun for the bragging rights, but I think in the big picture, obviously, there's a lot more season after it.
Maple Grove had perhaps its best offensive showing in school history in a 54-28 pasting of Armstrong in Week 1. They set 7 school single-game records. It was a fun way to start the season.
It was so much fun. We had a great offensive line push, and everything was just going well for us.
The confidence in the summer and everything they went through, I think it was good for them to see the fruits of their labor. So I think, I was proud our offense clicked and we were able to kind of mix the run and the pass, so I thought it was a good week.
You can watch the Osseo Maple Grove game live on Channel 12 Friday night at 7 o'clock. If you go to the game, you can catch the replay Saturday night at 8:30 and 11. fun game, but again, only week 2 of the season. A lot of football to go.
Thanks a lot, John. Yes. Up next, who says football players are only tough and mean?
Up next, see how an Osseo football captain is inspiring some nice things. We're back in a moment. As area students wrap up their first week back to school, we have a story tonight about a 17-year-old who is making an impact well beyond the walls of his high school.
He's a football captain that's using social media to stop bullies in their tracks. And this standout student, an Osseo senior, is doing it one message at a time. In the halls of high school, when the varsity football captain speaks,
this year we're doing something different with the page numbers.
Students usually listen. At Osseo High, Captain Kevin Kerwick can battle it out on the field, but his words
So these are some of my tweets.
hold power in a different arena.
Like, for example, I have, take a tip from Jake Lang, guys. He knows how to treat his girl right.
Kevin's Twitter account, Osseo Nice Things, is the antidote to cyberbullying.
Anything from, you know, treating his girlfriend right to she knows Harry Potter better than anyone and is willing to try something new.
With each tweet, Kevin calls out a classmate and showers them with kindness.
This idea that is small but profound, that it grows into something that can affect many people, even though it's on an individual basis.
That's another big thing.
In an online atmosphere where a bully's cruel message can spread like wildfire.
It's not a old-fashioned rumor where it spreads one person to the next, you know. This was widespread. People retweeted it and things like that, and everybody saw it.
Kevin Kerwick's Nice Things is no small thing. It's caught the eye of celebrity Selena Gomez, who tweeted, "Nice Things is trending." At Osseo, Nice Things started it all. And Kevin's account has spurred welcome copycats from Missouri to New Hampshire, each site sending their own messages of positivity.
It's really cool to see that, you know, now we have positivity trending, and being nice is cool.
And for him, it makes his life better to make other people's lives better. And that's not something that you commonly see with a high school student.
These are really your guidelines on placement.
This high school senior never intended to be a star. He set up the account anonymously, but he's managed to make kindness cool in a worldwide arena where words matter.
The thing I'm most happy about is that this is spreading.
And Kevin's Twitter account, Osseo Nice Things, has more than 4,600 followers from around the world, and Kevin said he plans to hand off the account next year to another Osseo student when he goes off to college. So, great kid, wants to be a doctor someday, help others, so it will go on.
Good job.
That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay with us. Community Corners coming up next, and we'll see you again tomorrow.